Well, once again, it looks like MSNBC has allowed themselves to produce some 100% pure shite. What's going on, America? Welcome to Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense. Before we get into this video, I need y'all to do me a favor. Hit that like button, share my videos. Please make sure you subscribe. Make sure your notification buttons are turned on to all. Subscribe to my alternative channel just in case YouTube give me the slip or something. You'll know how to find me. Don't forget to check me out with all the podcasts and follow me on Rumble in the Jungle. All the links are listed below. If you want to donate to my channel, feel free. Those links are below as well. Now, with no further ado,
welcome to my party, we're just getting started.
What's going on, America? Kid from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. Yeah, man, and I'm traveling, I'm out of town. And I also haven't been doing my live stream lately because I'm working a new job. Got some crazy hours. So hopefully y'all will forgive me, but I'm getting back to my new schedule, my old schedule, should I say, pretty soon. But before I do that, I couldn't let this segment go on MSNBC where they bring this race baiter in who pretends that he's a professor of some sort, a philosopher. He tries to pontificate and all of this stuff. And to get deep, he's soul brother number one. You know what I'm saying? So he got deep all over why Trump supporters voted for Donald Trump. And apparently, I guess he's trying to suggest that it's a mistake. And he goes into listing all the reasons he feels that it's a mistake. And he's wondering why we can't see it. So we better go ahead, since we're open-minded and tolerant, we like to hear what the left is thinking about. We better go ahead and see what he's suggesting and go from there.
I don't know what it's going to take for the American people, for 78 million Americans, to deal with what motivated them to make the choice to elect this man again, to make the choice that will allow these people to undermine every fundamental assumption we have, that you can just be disappeared, and then they can argue that, a court is getting in the way of their ability to exercise, foreign policy in some ways, right? I don't know what it's going to take.
So it appears that this man is talking about the big, huge influx of illegal immigrants that's in our country right now, many of them violent. And Trump and the administration is sending these people out the country. In fact, I believe they sent one young man to El Salvador, and apparently the courts, even the Supreme Court, has ruled that he has to come back. But this guy right here is referring to this young man, or many like them, which I'm trying to find out, where are all of these legal immigrants? I'm talking about American citizens who have rights, who didn't break our law, who didn't come across the border illegally, who didn't overstay their visa, all of those people. I want to know, where are all those people that are being disappeared and being sent back to wherever? And why does it only apply to those that have come across our border illegally and not just all of the minorities in the United States? Because see, when you deal with these type of race baiters and this type of propaganda network, they want you to believe that this is not isolated to just people who deserve to be deported. They don't want you to even know the fact that this young man who was deported was a MS-13 gang leader and a human trafficker. They don't want you to know that. They want you to think that these are gentle woodland creatures minding their own business, and suddenly here comes big bad Tom Holdman, grabs them, throws them in the back of the paddy wagon, and just sends them off to wherever, regardless of their citizen status or their citizenship or whatever. So now he's trying to say that people are being disappeared, which, if you're dealing with a simple-minded person that might be watching this show seriously, they might think that might apply to pretty much any American citizen or even any illegal immigrant. Because not just any illegal immigrant is going to be snatched and taken to El Salvador. You got to be one of the worst of the worst. But according to him, it's just a freestyle. I mean, Trump and all the rest of them are out there just doing draconian things with these people and not obeying nobody's law or constitution or nothing. So let's continue as I destroy this man's lies that they allowed him to spew up on this network.
For 78 million Americans to deal with what motivated them to make this choice. And the choice that they've made, we have to just be honest, is to literally throw the Republic into the trash bin. And this is just one example. The tariffs is another, right? They made the choice. Now, what was behind it?
Well, we better find out exactly what was behind it, but I can help him out a little bit. It could be the fact that prior to Trump, none of these presidents were America first. They allowed our jobs to be sent all over the place to where now China has the upper hand on the U.S. in many areas, like some of the most important things that we might need to be manufactured here in the country, but our stupid leaders have allowed a foreign adversary to manufacture some very important items, and Trump is smart enough to say that's not a good idea. And so are many Americans. One of the things that were being outsourced was our jobs. See, and so to get those jobs back, we had to go ahead and bait China into a trap by throwing them tariffs out there. Now, these tariffs are designed for the middle class, the lower income or the middle class income American versus the elite and the rich, because it appears that they all have a problem with holding China accountable. And for whatever reason, they're okay with us being abused over here in regards to the trading policies of China. And so now Trump comes in and he says, if we're ever going to make a change or take a stance right now against China, we better do it while we got the upper hand. Or should we listen to these propagandists who would rather see our country lose to China than to see Trump win? Should we listen to them and allow China to continue operating and doing what they're doing until they collapse our whole economy and become the #1 superpower and we ain't got no leverage? Should we do that? Not to mention all of the what that took place to get all these Americans to the point where they're like, deport these people. Let's go ahead and take a look.
These people are just waiting for a chance to be able to contribute fully. They become Americans before a lot of Americans become Americans.
We have to surge. We have to surge to the border.
We have a secure border.
And the border is secure. The border is closed, and that's what we're focused on.
Oh, the 11 million people living in the shadows, I believe they're already American citizens. Welcome, my fellow Americans. First and foremost, I want to thank you for choosing us and believing that America is worthy of your aspiration.
That's how we got here. Joe Biden getting up there talking about the surge the border, and the Democrats opening up our border to the point where even folks that might have been moderates or ignorant about what's going on with the illegal immigration crisis became acutely aware, especially when millions of them and thousands of them start showing up in their neighborhoods, occupying their schools, crowding hospitals, taking jobs, creating crime, all of these things. And it went from just being a white nationalist border state problem that they were accusing all of those people of being just xenophobic to a problem across our nation, to the point where Americans rejected the Democrats and their policies and started to kind of wake up and realize how bad they've been abused by these Democrats by filtering in all these illegal immigrants into their neighborhoods and their cities in order to, of course, create a new voter base. And it got to the point where even moderates or some liberals decided, I don't like all of these illegal immigrants coming into our country and I want to see them gone. That's how we got here, as you saw that montage of Democrats telling them to come on, allowing them to run right through our border patrol, all of those things. That's how we got here, buddy. That's why I have no pity, no mercy, no concern. If you're here legally, you got to go. But according to this guy, we're just randomly snatching innocent illegal immigrants off the streets and throwing them in El Salvador prison. So let's continue to hear this guy vomit up one of the worst narratives ever. And then they wonder why we got crazy folks running around burning Teslas and acting a fool.
We have to grapple with it. Because it's the snake, it's the beast coiled up in the heart, the bosom of the country, as Frederick Douglass said. And the fact that they are doubling down on this shows you what kind of human beings they actually are.
Whoa! Did you hear that? That brother got all deep, pontificating the essence of the effervescence of the epitome of the circumstantial, all of that. Just because you're doing a whole bunch of this, if you're on MSNBC as a black contributor and you're not a Republican, then you are there to race bait, to push a hit piece on the administration, to vomit up whatever narrative you want without it being challenged. In fact, we're going to see Nicole Wallace tell this dude, keep it going. She's going to give him the snaps, all the quiet, poetry snaps like, you speaking, brother. Go on now, go on. Continue to preach.
Say more.
Say more.
We chose a felon who is more interested in loyalty, who's more interested in retribution, who's more interested in grift than in democracy.
So now she gave him an opportunity to just freestyle some stuff. Yeah, he got his first point across, and then she was like, you know what, I got some time to kill. Say more. He's like, oh, shoot, I get to just freestyle? I thought, all right, that we chose a felon that really isn't a felon. That's why everybody chose him, because we know that he's not a real felon. We know that that was nothing more than lawfare that they used against him just to create that narrative that they're using right now on this network. And a grifter? How's Trump a grifter? I don't understand. You don't have to grift when you're a billionaire. Same thing with Elon. What are they getting out of this? All the things that are coming out of this are not necessary benefits to them. They're benefits to all Americans. So it seems that they're not grifters. These are selfless acts. They ain't even taking a salary. Unlike you, who you only get brought on this show because you're a grifter. You are a race baiter, and they're using you to get on here and spew all of this garbage. You're the real grifter. But let's continue hearing this dude spew out all of this shite.
And we chose a felon because we didn't want to elect a black woman.
There it is, y'all. Little bit of racism. That's the only reason Kamala Harris lost, y'all, because we didn't want to choose a black woman. That's right. It had nothing to do with her intelligence or her inability to speak or not having policies or her being extremely liberal and radical. Had nothing to do with that. Yeah, man. It's just because she was a woman. That's what it was. See? Mentality like this and narratives like this, they'll never get better. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I hope they get worse. Let's continue.
So to read that, to actually explicate that, is to say we would rather destroy the republic than for that to have happened.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
No, Anton Chigurh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Rather destroy the republic than to let that happen. So let me understand, y'all. All of these, I guess, white supremacists and white folks was like, you know what? I'd rather the whole country get destroyed than rather let a woman run our country. That's what it is. Even all of the increase in minority voters, they were thinking the same thing. Or could it be they saw that the Democrat Party was destroying our country and our republic through things like lawfare, things like weaponizing the FBI, the CIA, and all of those joints, things like that. Hey, we saw that. We saw them destroying our country through horrible foreign policies, through sending money all over the place, outside of here in America where we really needed it. And we saw them destroying our policies and our republic by opening up our borders and bringing in all of these illegal immigrants. We saw that. But this guy wants you to think that we rejected Kamala Harris solely because she's a woman and not the Democrat Party because they're trash.
And until we grapple with it, there's no amount of protesting I could do. There's no amount of resistance that could come into play to actually force 78 million people to grapple with what motivated them to put themselves in this position.
And I think you're getting at how we're going to have to go through the next 4 years, right? Because I haven't on this show covered the talk of a third term, because I believe it's a shiny object.
Now y'all see her come off the bench to throw him an assist. She hit him with the alley-oop. That's what you're saying then. This is how we're going to go through the next 4 years and all of these things like this. Say more. Because, see, she wants to use up all of this time to, once again, convince their horrible audience that Trump is doing bad things and we have to endure 4 years. No, we already endured 4 years of a nightmare with creepy, sleepy, sleazy, slimy, sloppy Joe, who was out of his mind, but people like you and your network pretended that that dude was fine. That could be another reason why y'all got y'all butt smashed and why your ratings suck, because nobody trusts you. You think I'm going to believe you? And you bringing this guy on here and y'all teaming up trying to go ahead and paint this negative narrative. They don't even come across sincere. But nonetheless, let's finish listening to her and her hitman that she done brought on her show.
I believe the things driving Trump's approval rating down are the man-made destruction of the economy.
Oh, you see that man-made destruction of the economy, like the Democrats came in and systematically destroyed. Why do you think everybody was like, you know what, we need to get Trump back in here. This economy was better. Not to mention, he's not destroying our economy. Things are getting better. But, they'll never admit that on MSNBC. They will straight up lie through their teeth in spite of all the contrary evidence that shows things are getting better. But that's not their job, to report the news. Their job is to destroy Trump and help the Democrats.
Abandoning due process, But you're right in that 78 million people voted for someone who wants to shred the Constitution.
There we go again. So she got to throw in her jabs too about all the negative stuff, and then she pretends to side with him. You're right. And then throws in something else. Someone who wants to shred the Constitution. I didn't know that was what Trump was doing. What constitutional laws have he shredded or destroyed? What has he done? See, they'll just say this. They say things like he's going to destroy democracy. He doesn't follow the law, the rule of law. He's shredding our Constitution. But they never want to get into the details of that. Then they say things like due process, but they leave out the facts that, hey, you want due process for illegal gang members who also are deemed to be domestic terrorists here. You know what I mean? And not to mention that anybody in our country illegally has already violated the law. What constitutional rights do you want to give people who aren't even citizens? But that's what the whole banter back and forth between these two are designed for. It's a hit piece. Yeah, they're tag teaming. That's what they're doing.
Why?
That's the key.
What's the answer?
There is a sense in which the underbelly of the country, what Melville was writing about, right? That there's this sense, this tragic dimension of the American project.
You sing getting all deep. This sense. His acting coach probably told him how to go ahead and get in character before he came out. Because now when he's giving you the Italian hand, the sense. See, yeah, that means he's deep. He's learned. He's a professor of some sort, a professor of shite. That's what he is. But he's out there going ahead and giving you the mamma mia. So that must mean what he's saying is deep. Take it seriously.
Where the extension of basic democratic principles, the idea that dignity and standing should be accorded to anyone, no matter their gender, no matter where they're from, no matter their color, that has been challenged because some people believe that by definition they ought to be superior to others, and that the country should be organized in such a way to ensure that fact. And we have been willing to do monstrous things in defense of it.
Now, how do we get from all of that to now all of a sudden, I guess there is white supremacy and they want to make sure the white people stay in control. And of course, the narrative to justify the stupidity of all these illegal immigrants being shipped into our country is that these people want to retain their power. That's right. The white man don't want to water down the pure white as snow blood and have these folks from other countries coming in, taking their jobs and stuff, okay? This American man, that's what he wants people to think, that all of this is motivated by white supremacy or racism. But I'm trying to figure out how is it that all these Latinos that voted for Trump also want these folks, who are many of them from Latin America, sent out of the country. Why did they vote for Trump to stop that? Why did more black people vote for Trump than ever before? Why is it? Or do we want to, make sure that we remain the dominant, the race, the dominant color, the dominant whatever? Or could it be we want to make sure America remains American-based only, okay, not illegal immigrants-based? Could it be that? And it has nothing to do with your race or nationality. Me as a black man, I don't want illegal immigrants, whether they're black, white, or otherwise, coming across the border illegally. But see, it can't be that simple when you have a stupid ideal and a stupid policy to just look at it like that. You got to go ahead and make it deeper. Yeah, you want to go ahead and insert a motive into Trump, the administration, and anybody who voted for Donald Trump had to be to protect the power of white supremacy. Is it really, though?
Monstrous things. And people have been using it in some ways, Nicole, for their own self-interest. They might not be monsters in that sense, but they might be unabashedly greedy. They just want to make money with and exploit people's grievances and hatreds in the way. But we've been dealing with this from the very beginning.
Shut the hell up.
Exactly. From the very beginning. Beginning of what? The beginning of the Democrat Party relaunching racism, discrimination, sexism, xenophobia, all the things that America started to weed out of its blood system. But y'all gave a heavy dose, another injection of all of this through identity politics when you realize Americans don't like your stupid radical policies, okay? I mean, how are these Democrats going to get up there and justify all of their stupid radical policies, like little boys and girls that are going and getting transgendered up? You know what I mean? Illegal immigrants coming in, getting licenses and having the ability to vote and taking American jobs. You know what I mean? Sending all of our billions of dollars over to a stupid, endless, senseless war in Ukraine. You know what I mean? Things like that. People start getting tired of all the woke ideology and the DEI and all of this, and can't present any evidence to support your policies, but you sure can't call a whole bunch of people white supremacists, racists, xenophobes, homophobes, because you're too lazy to convince individuals that what you're selling is worth buying. And that's what it is. And then you send that snake oil salesman out there on that network to spew up some more garbage. And that's why I had to expose him for all of that shite he just left on that set. Starting with Nicole Wallace. She's one big pile of shite. Now, God bless y'all. God bless America. We'll see y'all next time at Kevin's Corner. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, share my videos, follow me on all the other social media platforms. You want to support the channel through my Cash App, PayPal, you can do that too. Check out Kevin's Corner store. Buy yourself some merch. And other than that, we'll see y'all next time at Kevin's Corner. Take care.